I want to talk to you about a very important topic, about the question how many legacies are actually over generations and maybe centuries successful? I guess that is a very important question to erase. And I would guess very few will raise this question. So let me take a look for you into the world of the legacies, what we call today. I can imagine, maybe you can imagine too, that many people, many individuals, many families spend a lot of money for advisors, other people to help them to structure and to find a legacy. It is natural and it is inside of us to ask ourselves, okay, what we leave behind if we are passed away, we are go, what will be there in centuries, maybe in decades? I will give it just another perspective. And I will call that the legacy itself is in a pathway and in a crossway into a new definition. What should it be actually? So let me take a look into the past for you. So what I observed was that many legacies are very selfish. And it's natural because you as a wealth creator, as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, you ask yourself, okay, I've worked very hard. I go broke. I struggle a lot. And I'm now in a position that I have this kind of fortune. What will be there and what will be behind if I'm not there and I'm not around? How will be my family structured? And what is the core, what I can leave behind? And it is, in the end of the day, just in the center, there's a lot of ego. And I would say if the legacy is mainly structured by an ego, it will be fail because it is only focused on the individual itself. And if the new generation, if the rising generation comes through the door, comes in the position to take over the leadership in the family or have take place on the table, they raise different questions. And maybe it could be that they say, no, that kind of legacy, that is just not in our interest. How we can evolve this kind of legacy, that brings many families in huge discussions. Is it natural that a legacy should be evolved? Yes. But in reality, how many families have actually a broad room to evolve the legacy? I would say very few. Because on the topic, what I've mentioned previously, that in many legacies, what I've seen, maybe you as well, is in the core, there's a huge ego. So also on the flip side of this, if we make a perspective that a legacy itself maybe could be evolved, there's a little room, there's a chance for an evolution of the legacy. It could be, on the one hand, that the legacy itself will be evolved in a completely different direction. On the other hand, it could be second pathway, that is maybe the main pathway, that the legacy itself is dynamite for the family itself. It will be a ground foundation for many hard discussions, for many conflicts that should be solved. And then we call it today as family dynamics. The question is maybe, okay, where does family dynamics come from? Is it just that we have a very hard discussion about these golden egg legacy? And please, don't understood me here correctly. I see, and it is for me personally also very important, there should be a legacy. No, not on this. The question is more, do we plan the legacy from the past? from myself or from yourself? Or do we plan our legacy, or what I call the lineage impact from the future? Do we plan our family from the future? What I've seen and what I've observed is very few people, very few families plan their structure from the future. Because it is maybe also natural that very few people have this capability to say, yeah, maybe I make this outlook and I go into the situation 100 years, maybe 200 years, maybe 500 years from now. I will be there. I will figure out how could this picture look like for me personally, but also for the family itself. And then look backward and plan and structure the family, what we are doing today. And what I can tell you is just that if you are go a different pathway, that you plan your legacy, or what I call the impact. I'll give you just a clear definition in the middle, is if you go into the future and you paint your picture very clearly, how is your family growing? How should your family look like? Maybe in 100 years. Make this example, make this exercise. How is your family office look like in 100 years? And if you're looking backward and looking in your present, what you're doing today, maybe there is a great chance that you say, what we are doing today is BS. It is nonsense. It brings us nowhere. And it starts in a discussion in your family in a completely different direction. Please try it. It's very easy, or not. But it gives you just the capability that you paint your picture for your own family even clearer, with a clear framework. And what I found out also is there's a greater cohesiveness, because you have a North Star. In North Star, what could be directed in your family? What is the right direction? Make this example. I mean, if you are jumping in your private plane, you know exactly what kind of attitude and what kind of direction do you want to achieve. Maybe I don't think so that you say, okay, bring me everywhere. No, it doesn't work. So if you plan your future family, or the structure, your strategy, your vision, whatever they call it, from the future, you will change maybe probably from legacy to impact. What is the impact goal, what you want to achieve as a family? What is the lineage, what you want to build up? And what I mean by lineage is maybe you are in the second, third, fourth generation. What is the lineage over the next generations? How does it look like? More conflicts, more cohesiveness, better structure, better strategy, better vision? Do you go on a way to professionalize your family? Just like an enterprise. Because an enterprise is also just a cohort of individuals. Surprise, surprise. But what we have taught over the last couple of years is just that each family is unique. Yes, each family is unique. But also each corporation, each enterprise is unique. But in the end of the day, you have certain patterns. How do you can compare to others? On strategy, on vision, on mission. How is your family, how is your enterprise structured? What do you want to achieve? And in the end. Why is it so important today? I mean, undoubtedly, we will see over the next 5, 10, maybe 20 years, a lot of families with significant wealth, like yours. You stay in competition with others. And You should decide on yourself. Are you just a poor structured family, or do you will a rich structured family? Like your fortune in your bank account or in your assets or stuff like that. That is a very important decision to make. We are live now just more in the past 10, 20 years where there is maybe a certain amount of wealthy families or families with significant wealth, enterprise families. Now, we are standing on a crossroad that we will see more families. We will see also in a new definition of the word, of the description family itself. What is the family in the future? How does it look like? The new generation, the millennials, the zillennials, they think completely different. And also, what I've observed and what I figure out is that these kind of generation, they raise other questions. And also that is a very important point, and I bring it in front of you, is that this kind of generation is more aware of the challenges what they have seen at their parent generations. They raise other questions, bring up new skills, bring up new techniques, bring up new systems, bring up new structures that they can have in multi-generational continuity, not by chance, by systems, by structures. So coming back to the point, what I've mentioned in the previously about the legacy. If we change our perspective and not from the past, and the future maybe is a byproduct of your family, and you look and you change your perspective and say, we are not talking more about a legacy. We are talking about impact. We are talking about lineage impact. How is the impact look like? What our family will be bring into a society, into industries, but on a very similar point also, how we can bring up impact in our own family system. That is a very important question, and maybe in another direction. Please try it out, and you will maybe figure out that you raised other questions, and you will get completely different answers if you plan your future from the past. If you plan your future from the past, what will you do? What will the result look like? You will do repetitively in today's, you will do what you have done in the past. Again and again and again and again. Ask yourself, is this maybe also one main component, one main critical point that so many conflicts arise? I would say yes. If you change your perspective and ask yourself how we can make our impact sustainable and over generations, that we have pure, strong impact as a whole family, not depend on one egotistically legacy what was born maybe in the last 10 or 20 years. That will bring you to different solutions, different perspectives, and more dynamic will come through the door. I will encourage and empower you. Think about lineage impact for your family. Ask yourself very seriously and very openly, is your legacy what you have maybe inherit, maybe what you want to transform, will be the successful over the next decade? For now, I will give you this advice, and I've experienced this on myself. Lineage impact is just even better. It is addressing the whole family system. It is structuring, it brings more cohesiveness because there is a clear North Star for each family member, and it will be much even better. On this point, I will bring up to you in very important information, and maybe that's helpful for you. From the 4th until the 7th of November this year, there is an ARC's Sovereign Family Strategy Summit in Norway. We will discuss this on Lineage Impact also in this very small circle. 5 global families come together. All families are in the new generation, what I call it. The new generation is just that the raising generation has taken over the leadership of the family or is on a transition to take over the leadership of the family. And we will discuss in family operating system to address all these new challenges: legacy to impact, succession. How do you bring in succession in a systematic approach over generations? How do you evolve as a family? How to make these choke points, what I called, in a systematic approach: culture, succession, impact, learning culture, and many others into a systematic approach. I will give you just more information on this that isn't just an event, right? That is a starting movement of this new generation of families to address all these critical issues inside of the family, to professionalize the family itself. Because if you are professionalized more your family, it's just even easier, I would call it, to make more fundamental decision also in your family itself. Once again, from the 4th until the 7th of November in Norway, between fjords and the mountains, we will have these closed, intimidated, exclusive family strategy summit. Once again, that isn't just an event. It is just also not a workshop or stuff like that. Each family go at home with a clear implementation pathway over the next 12 months to become a sovereign family. Sovereignty, just like in country. Is it possible? Yes, absolutely. And it is requested. For now, I will encourage and then empower you. Bring up these important questions inside of your family. How successful is your legacy as a family? Bring up some answers, some perspectives. I hope that kind of inspiration maybe also bring outside informations in front of you. It's helpful for you. And until next, be great.